After spending nearly 20 years on death row, Scott James Eizember was executed by lethal injection in Oklahoma. He committed something so shocking, so cold, so brutal, the jury didn't hesitate, and neither did the state. But before we get to his final words and last breath, we have to go back to the moment that sealed his fate. This is not a story for the faint of heart. 2 innocent people were slaughtered in their own home. A community terrorized. A manhunt that spanned weeks. And a killer who said, in the end, that his conscience was clear. Due to the nature of this case, viewer discretion is advised. Every description is factual and told with care. Depew, Oklahoma. The kind of place where American flags line the porches, and folks still wave when they pass you on the street. The kind of town where nothing happens until it does. That morning, 76-year-old A.J. Cantrell and his wife Patty, 70, returned home after running errands. Likely groceries. Maybe a cup of diner coffee. The kind of routine that's comforting after 50 years of marriage. They didn't know that their home had already been invaded. Crouched inside their back room was a man named Scott James Eizember. A loaded, stolen shotgun in his grip. A quiet fury in his mind. But the Cantrells weren't his targets. He was waiting for someone else, Catherine Smith, his ex-girlfriend, who lived across the street. She had broken up with him. She had moved on. But in his mind, she belonged to him. And if he couldn't have her, no one will. The Cantrells just came home at the wrong time. The front door opens. Keys hit the counter. Patty calls out something normal. Maybe, honey, help with the groceries. Then a sound no home should ever hear. Bang. Patty is dead. Shot at close range. Blood coats the hallway. AJ, confused, heart racing, charges toward the noise. But it's too late. He doesn't even reach his wife before he's met with the butt of the shotgun. Wood against bone. And again. And again. Until there is only silence. While the Cantrells lie dead, across the street, Catherine Smith is living her regular life. Within minutes, her life is also shattered. Eizember smashes through her glass door. He shoots her teenage son in the back. The boy survives. He beats Catherine's elderly mother nearly to death. She survives to... Why didn't he finish the job? Because this time, he wanted them to remember. He wanted pain to linger. Someone called 911. I heard a loud bang, then screaming, then nothing. By evening, the crime scene is crawling with detectives. When they arrive, they find more than bodies. They find a story written in blood. Muddy boot prints that don't belong. Fingerprints on broken glass. A trail of blood drops. The killer had made one mistake. He bled. They started investigating, and by nightfall, they had a name. Scott James Eizember. And then the manhunt began. 37 days of terror. The small town turns into a fortress. Bobos. Helicopters. Shotguns by every bedside. Every barn, every old silo, every shadow becomes suspect. Parents walk their kids to school with one eye on the horizon. Eizember is gone. But the fear? The fear stays. November 20th, 2003. In Arkansas, a doctor and his wife are driving. Suddenly, a man steps out. Points a gun at the windshield. Drive, he commands. Or she dies. What Eizember didn't know. The doctor had a pistol hidden in the vehicle. 4 shots were fired. Eizember falls. Bleeding but alive. Who was Scott James Eizember before he became Oklahoma's most wanted? Born 1960. No childhood headlines. A construction worker. Divorced. Angry. Alone. But slowly the picture sharpens. Multiple restraining orders. Abuse allegations. When Catherine Smith finally ended their relationship, she fled in fear. And that fear was justified. The courtroom fills with silence as survivor testimony begins. The teenage boy describes being shot. His grandmother recalls the beating. Jurors cry. Others turn away. But what does justice look like when the damage is already done? The defense pleads mental illness, a broken childhood, and a man who lost control. The prosecution shows the evidence. This wasn't madness or rage. This was an execution. The verdict: guilty, sentence, death plus 150 years. But justice moves slowly. 20 years later, January 11, 2023. Eizember eats his final meal. Details are withheld. At 10:01 a.m. the next day, he enters the death chamber. And 4 in his arm. 17 witnesses are watching. His last words: "I'm at peace. My conscience is clear. I love my children." He mouths to his daughter, "I love you." 10:07 am unconscious. 10:15 am pronounced dead. Outside, Johnny Melton, the Cantrell's nephew, speaks through tears. This isn't closure, but a page has turned. And then he says something chilling. The abuser needs help long before the victim ever screams. Because by then it's too late. The story ends for Scott James Eizember. But not for those he hurt. 2 innocent people, taken because they were simply at home. A.J. Cantrell, Korean War veteran, 76. Patty Cantrell, devoted church secretary, 70. Gone because evil walked through their unlocked door. What questions does this story raise for you about justice, forgiveness, and the nature of evil? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And if stories like this matter to you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss the next chapter.